Want to know the latest and hottest music hitting the airwaves? Don't be left out. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Music Podcast. It keeps you on the loop with everything you need to know from pop, rock, hip-hop, and the top 40. And we'll throw in news of your favorite artists, concert and tour dates, and so much more. Listen no further, because this is the gold standard in music podcast.
Thank you for listening to the GSMC Music Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Gaelika Brown, the music lover constantly seeking positive music. Now, let's get into some music news. All right, this past Sunday, yesterday, Resurrection Sunday, Easter Sunday, with this sheltering at home, it really didn't feel like Easter all the way going up into the weekend. As a matter of fact, I forgot that it was Easter. I didn't realize it. I didn't realize Good Friday was coming up. I didn't realize it was Easter service or Easter Sunday. Typically it's almost like an entire weekend event usually in my life. Always celebrate Good Friday, usually have a really cool service in a local rose garden here in Sacramento, the Clooney Rose Garden or McKinley Rose Garden. We have a really good just Good Friday service, and then that rolls into Sunday Easter service, and haven't been going to church because we've been sheltering at home. So it's like the whole season it didn't feel like Easter season. But thankfully and luckily, my older sister, last minute, I think probably Friday, either Thursday or Friday, she was like, we should do an Easter family Zoom. And one of my cousins is a minister. And then she had me put together the music and the lyrics. She organized everything and we pulled it off. It was so dope. It was a very special Easter because although we were all at home in our respective places, we had over, 12 people on the call scattered across the globe. My oldest nephew being stationed in a military base in Korea, he was on the call. It was 1 a.m. Monday morning for him. So, if we weren't sheltering in place and we did, Easter as usual, we wouldn't have connected as a family. Cause a lot of us don't live in the same city. So other than maybe, a text, Happy Easter, Happy Resurrection Sunday, that would have been the gist of it. So it was really cool for us all to really have a service together and see each other's faces and worship together and go over the word. And my cousin is just super dope. Oh my gosh, his message was on point. So anyways, with that being said, Andrea Bocelli, he stunned viewers around the world on Easter Sunday when he played to an otherwise silent cathedral in the Music for Hope live from Duomo di Milano concert. My Italian isn't that good. Y'all know, if it ain't English, I'm a struggle. So expect that this episode because I am going to do the history section on him. So that's going to be a hot mess. But anyways, he said, on the day in which we celebrate the trust in a life that triumphs, I'm honored and happy to answer C to the invitation of the city and the Duomo of Milan, Bocelli said. He performed 5 songs. The performances blew away many housebound viewers, including Hugh Jackman, Kim Kardashian West, Shania Twain, and a number of other celebs. Now, Drake became the first male artist and the second act overall to have debuted 3 songs at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 Songs chart as his new single, Tootsie Slide. Slid to the top of the spot. Drake matches Mariah Carey, who achieved 3 number 1 debuts on the Hot 100 in 1995 to 1997. Drake's Tootsie Slide soars in with #1 debut on Billboard's Hot R&B and Hip Hop Songs. And this is granting this prolific hitmaker his 20th leader on the list and a share of a historic mark. He ties Aretha Franklin and Stevie Wonder for the most #1s in the chart's history. Now, DaBaby teased fans on Twitter Monday afternoon. He said, this Friday, tweeted baby with a record emoji. So basically, he had a record emoji and it just said this Friday. 2 weeks ago, Baby released his 10-minute mini movie for Find a Way. I'm going to have to look into that. An ode to ride or die relationships. In January, Baby spoke to Billboard about potential new music during his time at the Grammys red carpet. I finna leak a whole album, he said. So, this sound like that album he might finna be leaking. DaBaby ain't the only artist teasing new music. Tribe Called Quest rapper Q-Tip found the very best way to celebrate his 50th birthday. That's crazy, 50. I was so in love with him when I was little. He was so cute to me. Rocking a bright red shirt and slapping the bass. The rapper posted a video in which he shared some exciting news with fans. It says, message from the abstract. He was just playing. So basically, if you watch the clip, he's playing the bass. It's maybe like a minute and a half long clip. And as he's playing, text is scrolling. So the first text that you see is message from the abstract. The second text is, I pray for you and your loved ones are in good health. And then next it says 3 albums. And then next, and then with lightning bolts, it says algorithms, Rio Diaries, and the long promised The Last Zulu. And then it says, God willing, I will get with you soon. So, yeah, that was his way of teasing 3 albums coming up. Pitbull dropped an inspirational song, I Believe We Will Win. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. I don't know if that's the song, but that's the chant where it came from. It all started with the chant, I believe we will win, which is typically said in unison at sporting events. And thanks to a close friend who showed him the chant on the internet, he told me, hey, I made a beat to this, and I thought it was crazy that he was showing it to me because it was literally when the lockdown started, and I told him, man, this is what the world needs right now. I knocked out the record within a day and a half, and the third day we were ready to put out the snippet for everybody because I felt that the message is needed right now more than ever. All proceeds of the Empowerment Anthem, released in collaboration with Saban Music Group, will go towards charities like Feeding America and the Tony Robbins Foundation. Now, for the last month, I had no idea this was happening, so this is pretty dope. But for the last month, Swizz Beatz and Timbaland have curated dream battles on Instagram between artists, producers, and songwriters to help pass the time during the quarantine. Titled Versus, spelled Verzuz, we've seen heavyweight matches among legendary music titans, but Saturday's showdown featured 2 revered luminaries in the production world in RZA and DJ Premier. They made the calls and we said yes, said Premier on Instagram Live minutes before his battle with RZA took place. It was scheduled for 9 p.m. Eastern time, and within the first 3 minutes, 100,000 people were on DJ Premier's Live, anxiously waiting for the matchup to begin. Snoop Dogg, LL Cool J, Nas, Shaq, Ludacris, T.I., Killer Mike, OVO 40, and more arrived early before the tip-off and made their presence felt with their buzz-worthy comments. They went 20 rounds, and each round had a winner or a tie. And here is some of the scorecard. Best banter was a tie. 2 class acts who genuinely love and admire each other's craftsmanship. They both provided great tales about the origins of the records and enlightened us with hip-hop factoids we were more fortunate enough to hear about. Biggest KO was Premier. To play Hove off the rip was a daring way to start the battle, especially since RZA's sound system was out of whack. It built momentum from Primo early on. People's Champ was a tie. Both men served up dominating performances. It got so crazy that they decided to keep the party going after playing their 20 records. The Culture won tonight. But the final score was 14-9-2 DJ Premier. All right, so DJ Premier won that battle against RZA. Now, Idina Menzel, Billy Porter, Ben Platt, Cynthia Erivo, and more came together over the weekend for Saturday Night Cedar, a virtual star-studded Passover Cedar. About 50 celebrities participated in traditional storytelling, comedic skits, and musical performances recalling Magid, the story of the Jews' exodus from Egypt. Hosted by Jason Alexander, Saturday Night Cedar included Yerivo and Shoshana Bean's rousing duet of When You Believe from The Prince of Egypt, accompanied by Steven Schwartz. Porter and Henry Winkler singing storytelling mashup of Go Down Moses, a musical recitation of the 4 questions by Nick Kroll, Finn Wolfhard, Menzel, and the Manishina Ensemble, and a helpful next year ensemble led by Shiana Taub and featuring Whoopi Goldberg, Busy Phillips, Josh Groban, Tan France, and more, accompanied and co-written by Mark Schoenblick. The hour-long event raised approximately $2.35 million for Cedars for disease control and for centers. What was I? Okay, yeah. So I'm sorry. For Centers of Disease Control and Prevention COVID-19 Emergency Response Fund. And for those who missed out, you can still tune in on SaturdayNightCedars.com. That's spelled SEDER.com. SaturdayNightSEDER.com. Or BuzzFeed's Tasty Channel to donate. And have you heard of the Whites event? Whites, WEITZ. Is that how you pronounce that? The Whites event started in mid-March when the WME partner tested out a virtual birthday party for his daughter just as those restrictions first took hold, the shelter and hold restrictions. Whites booked Windy City piano man Dario Giraldo of Chicago's Redhead Piano Bar to entertain an intimate group. But after Demi and her friends got restless, Demi is his daughter, Whites expanded the invite list. It was an instant hit, and since then he has hosted a half a dozen events with big-name musical acts logging on to perform their hits, while a select roster of invitees look from their respective homes. To date, performers have included John Mayer, Josh Groban, Boy George, Debbie Gibson, Adam Pascal, The War and Treaty, Thomas Rhett, Madison Love, Rick Astley, Rick Springfield, and dozens of others. During an April 4th event, Demi launched an Instagram account to support the series, as well as a GoFundMe campaign for Saban that ranked in a 6-figure sum, leading the duo to expand their efforts to include Cedars. It's now gone on long enough that they were able to expand it to celebrate Woods' birthday on Friday when he turned 51. The party, co-hosted by longtime client and friend Elo Kuje. And as part of Saturday's initiative, they welcomed Art Ochoa, Cedar's Chief Advancement Officer, who addressed the event and thanked everyone for participating and donating to the hospital's efforts. When it was all over, there had been a lot of money dropped too, and donations exceed $171,000 and are still growing. So we'll go ahead and take a break and return with new music news.
Always on the go, but the day just won't be one without your Hollywood fix. Let Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast take care of that. An all-inclusive look of pop culture.
Welcome back to the GSMC Music Podcast. I'm your host, Gaelika Brown. Now it's time for new releases. New album releases. We have Selena Gomez, Rare Deluxe, The Strokes, The New Abnormal, Tory Lanez, The New Toronto 3, Gavi, Heathen, YSN, Flow, Money, ZN. I don't know how you pronounce that, but it's Flow and then it's a $, and then ZN. Hot new singles, Tory Lanez, Stupid Again, Andrea Bocelli, Amazing Grace, Selena Gomez, Boyfriend, Usher, Lil Jon and Ludacris, Sex Beat, The Strokes, Brooklyn Bridge to Chorus, Division, I think is how you pronounce his name, DVSN, and Ty $, Dangerous City, Chaz Cardigan, Not Okay, Jerry Cinnamon, Head in the Clouds, Yella Beezy featuring Young Thug, Headlock, and Kenny Chesney, Knowing You. Now on to tours and festival news. Here's what's newly been canceled. Shania Twain has canceled all of her Las Vegas residency performances at the Zappos Theater through June 6th. At this time, her Let's Go show is scheduled to resume in August. Lock-In postponed its annual festival October 1st through the 4th. Okay, so Lock-In, it's LOCKN, postponed at the annual festival until October 1st through the 4th. So it's going to go down in October. The lineup will be announced at a later time. Previously purchased tickets will be honored for the rescheduled dates. Tegan and Sarah have postponed their Tonight We're Seeing Colors tour. We are desperate to get out on tour and can't wait to see you all again. NYC's Lincoln Center for the Performing Arts canceled its summer program series for 2020, which includes Midsummer Night's Swing, the Mostly Mozart Festival, and Lincoln Center Out of Doors. Burning Man announced that it decided not to build Black Rock City in 2020. The festival will provide refunds to all who need it. To replace the festival, which was scheduled from August 30th through September 7th, the events are going to build Black Rock City in the multiverse, announced in a statement here. That's the theme of 2020, so we're going to lean into it. Who'd had believed it would come true? We look forward to welcoming you to virtual Black Rock City 2020. We're not sure how it's going to come out. It will likely be messy and awkward with mistakes. It will also likely be engaging, connective, and fun. London's 2020 La Linea Latin Music Festival, originally slated to run in April and May, is rescheduled for September and October. All right. So now on to the top 10 songs played in the United States according to Apple Music. We have number 1, Drake, Tootsie Slide. Number 2, Roddy Ricch, The Box. Roddy Ricch is just hanging on to this top position. He slides up and down between 1 and somewhere. If he ain't number 1, he's close to it. But number 3, Tory Lanez, Stupid Again. Number 4, The Weeknd, Blinding Lights. Number 5, Tory Lanez, Broke in a Minute. Number 6, Megan Thee Stallion, Savage. Number 7, Future, Life is Good. Number 8, Tory Lanez and Mansa, 10 Fucks. Number 9, DaBaby, Find My Way. Number 10, Tory Lanez, Pricey and Spicy. Now let's compare that to the top 10 songs played globally according to Apple Music. Number 1 is Drake, Tootsie Slide. That's still the same as global or as the US. Number 2, The Weeknd, Blinding Lights. That's a little bit different from the US. But number 3, Roddy Ricch, The Box. Rowdy is still, top 3. Number 4, Tory Lanez, Stupid Again. Number 5, St. John Roses Remix. This is when it gets different. Like everything else prior, the top 4, those tracks are also, part of the top 10 in the U.S., but everything else I'm about to read is not part of the top 10 in the U.S. So number 5, St. John Roses Remix. Never even heard of that person or whatever they are. But the song sounds pretty cool. Dua Lipa, Don't Start Now is number 6. Number 7, Megan Thee Stallion, Savage. Well, that part is the same as the U.S. Number 8, Tones and I, Dance Monkey. Number 9, Justin Bieber, Intentions. And number 10, Tory Lanez, Broke in a Minute. Now, what have I been jamming? Man, I really haven't listened to anything new. I'm still jamming that Joyner Lucas. Dude is so legit. I tried to get into that Thundercat. It is what it is. It's definitely a vibe, not necessarily my vibe though. I had only heard of Thundercat by name. I knew nothing about his artistry and sound. He is, however, a true musician, super talented dude. I think the vibe was just a little too chill and relaxed for me at this moment. I have been listening to my Shazam playlist, which is ridiculously long. I didn't realize that Apple, every time I would Shazam a song, it would automatically put it into a playlist. And then because I didn't know that, I would also add the songs to that very same playlist because I didn't know it was automatically happening. Anyway, so I have this super long Shazam playlist and I don't ever listen to it. I just Shazam songs and move on. So yeah, for the past week, I've been going through that list. I still haven't made it through the playlist. But it's cool because it's oh yeah, I forgot about that song. And a lot of it is music that I'm unfamiliar with. It just sounded really cool in a movie or a TV show. So then I listen to it and I'm oh yeah, I remember why I Shazammed that or what I was doing when I Shazammed it. But that's pretty much what I've been doing. So I don't have anything to refer you to because, like I said, a lot of it is filled with artists and songs that I had never heard of. But we'll take a break and return with music history with Andrea Bocelli.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the GSMC Music Podcast. Now let's get into music history with Andrea Bocelli, according to allmusic.com. So Andre has been called the fourth tenor. The blind Tuscan-born vocalist has emerged as one of the most popular voices in the arena of light classical and crossover vocals and has made inroads into the world of opera as well. His participation in Pavarotti's 1992 hit Misery album and Zucchero Fornaccio's 1993 world tour brought him international attention. Bocelli has been most successful as a pop ballad singer, having recorded duets with Celine Dion, Sarah Brightman, and Eros Ramazzotti. Al Jarreau, who sang with Bocelli during the Night of Proms in November 1995, praised Bocelli with these words: "I have had the honor to sing with the most beautiful voice in the world." Bocelli grew up on a farm in Lagicito, a rural village in Tuscany. Beginning piano lessons at the age of 6, he later added flute and saxophone to his talents. Born with poor eyesight, he became totally blind at the age of 12 following a soccer accident. Despite his obvious musical talents, Bocelli did not consider a career in music until he had studied law at the University of Pisa and had earned a Doctor of Law degree. Inspired to pursue music, he studied with the famed tenor Franco Corelli, supporting himself by performing in piano bars. Bocelli's first break as a singer came in 1992 when Fornaciari auditioned tenors to record a demo tape of Misery, which he had co-written with Bono of the Irish rock group U2. Successfully passing the audition, Bocelli recorded the tune as a duet with Pavarotti. After touring with Fornacio, Fornaciari in 1993. Bocelli performed as a guest star in the Pavarotti International Festival held in Medina in September 1994. In addition to performing solo and in a duet with Pavarotti, Bocelli sang with Bryan Adams, Andres Vollenweider, and Nancy Gustavsson in November 1995. Bocelli toured Holland, Belgium, Germany, Spain, and France on the Pop Night of Proms bill, which also featured Al Jarreau, Brian Ferry, Roger Hodgson of Supertramp, and John Miles. Bocelli's first two albums, 1994's Andrea Bocelli had 1996 Bocelli showcase his operatic singing. His third effort, Via Lago Italiano, translates into Italian Journey, featured famous arias and traditional songs from Naples. Although released only in Italy, the album sold more than 300,000 copies. With his fourth album, Romanza, released in 1997, Bocelli turned to pop music. The album included the hit Time to Say Goodbye, recorded as a duet with Sarah Brightman. Bocelli continued to focus on pop balladry with his fifth album, Songo, released in 1999, which featured a duet with Celine Dion on the David Foster and Carol Bayer Sanger-penned tune, The Prayer. It sold more than 10 million copies, received a Golden Globe Award, and led to Bocelli being nominated for a Grammy as Best New Artist. In 2001, Bocelli paid tribute to his Tuscan roots with Celi di Toscana, while the popular Andrea kept his international presence alive in 2004. Bocelli returned in 2006 with two releases. Amor, which peaked at number 3 on the Billboard Top 200 chart, Bocelli's highest chart position in America, and the live CD-DVD package Under the Desert Sky. His 20th album, a collection of Neapolitan love songs entitled Encanto, was issued in 2008, followed by a holiday album, My Christmas, in 2009. During 2010, he released and toured around Notte Illimata, and in 2011, Bocelli made his debut at the Metropolitan Opera House in New York, as well as performing in Central Park with the New York Philharmonic, and guests including Tony Bennett, Celine Dion, Chris Botti, and Brian Terfel. All right, so that's Andrea Bocelli's music history. I'm not familiar with his music. I'm familiar with him by name. I was in a long-term relationship with a guy who's half Italian, and his mom was literally from Italy, and she loved her some Andrea Bocelli. So she would have him playing in the house, and that's how I first knew of him. But so this was a cool little lesson for me. I never knew how he became blind, that he, had some vision as a kid and then it completely went away at 12 over a soccer incident. That sucks. And then the whole going to law school, that's crazy to go from being studying law to becoming what did homie say he was? The most beautiful voice in the world? That's insane. But that's all I got for you guys. So I definitely appreciate your time. I thank you for listening to the GSMC Music Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. Until next time, I'm Gaelika Brown, the music lover constantly seeking positive music.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Music Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.